Hello, friends, and welcome to Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older, the podcast that's not about being old. It's about navigating the aging journey with curiosity, wisdom, and a sense of humor. If you enjoy this podcast, please share it with someone else who is seeking to age gracefully, because word of mouth remains one of the best ways to help others discover conversations that inform, entertain, and inspire. Now, the last few episodes, gotta admit, it's been a little on the heavy side. I wasn't trying to be down or anything, but talking about the 12 steps that are used in Alcoholics Anonymous and other recovery programs and how they can help us live a better life even if we're not battling addiction. Now, I think it might be time to get a little bit lighter. It might be time to go back to the very beginning. You see, back when this show began 3 years ago, do you know that when this episode releases, it will be exactly 3 years ago I started Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older. And in it, I would first talk about the subject at hand, Social Security, Medicare, whatever it might be, and then I would break off into things about my life, what I've been looking at, reading, music I've been listening to, television shows and movies I've been enjoying. Well, after a while, I kind of got away from that and just stuck with the subject at hand. But I was thinking, hey, why don't we go back and see if anyone's interested in this at all? So today we're talking about something that brings people together across generations, television and movies. Because you have to admit, streaming services have given us more choices than ever before, but finding shows and films that resonate with our life experiences, well, sometimes that's like searching for the proverbial needle in the proverbial haystack. I mean, isn't it amazing if you are someone like me who's given up cable, you've moved on to streaming services, there are so many different shows and movies and television, and half the time I go, there's nothing to watch. All the sports, everything else, I can't find a thing to watch. I end up turning on MeTV and checking out Green Acres. I've got some suggestions here for you. Now, maybe you already know about these shows and the movie I'm going to talk about. Maybe you don't. But just in case, let's get started. Now, what I want to do is talk about some shows, tell you what they're about, why you may enjoy them, tell you about what the critics have said, and I'm even going to talk about some of the drawbacks you should know before you invest your time. So this is going to be like Bill Monty's pros and cons of television today. I want to start with a Netflix show that stars Ted Danson. Just finished up its second season a month or so ago, and it's called The Man on the Inside. Kind of appealing for an older audience, and I don't know if younger folks are really watching it that much, because it really does concentrate on Ted Danson's character, who is an older man. He's a retired widower. Everything changes for him when he answers an ad from a private investigator and goes undercover inside a retirement community to solve a theft. The series was inspired by a documentary called The Mole Agent. And at first glance, it's just a light comedy mystery. I gotta tell you something. Underneath the laughs, it's a show that focuses on loneliness and grief and friendship and purpose and the challenge of finding meaning after retirement. Reviewers have repeatedly praised the show's warmth and emotional honesty. A lot of them have said it balances humor and sadness in a way that feels authentic rather than manipulative. I watched the show, and I've got to agree with that. And I don't know, this is not really a laugh out loud. You're not going to be guffawing at what goes on here. The humor is very subtle. It's really a character-driven piece, which is I enjoy. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're looking for some other type of show, I enjoy character-driven shows and movies and even books. There's not a lot of action that goes on in here. It's all about the people and their relationships. So here's why you, as an older viewer, may like it. First off, Ted Danson is terrific. Sure, you remember him from Cheers, Becker. Did you see The Good Place? That was another one that he really kind of, I'm not going to say he was not playing tight, because he is kind of always Ted Danson. Even when he was in, I don't remember the show, was it CSI? It was one of those type of shows. He was on for like one season. He still was bringing that humor to it. Look, he's got decades of experience and likability, and he brings all of them to the role of Charles. Secondly, the show treats older adults like complete human beings. The residents of the retirement community are not portrayed as stereotypes. They fall in love, they make mistakes, they experience loss, they continue growing. Some of them are likable, some of them are not likable. And third, it acknowledges something that a lot of retirees experience, the question of what's next. You see, when he answers the ad, Charles is not searching for a job. He's searching for a purpose. That's a theme that resonates with a lot of people who have left careers behind and now, either in retirement or just in that third act, they're trying to redefine themselves. So here are a couple of the pros about it. It's warm and uplifting, absolutely. Strong performances, yes. Sally Struthers is in the first season. The supporting characters are just fantastic, as is Ted Danson. It's a positive portrayal of aging. It is funny without being silly. It's not making fun of anybody. And it addresses the issues of loneliness and grief honestly, but a little bit of a smile. On the con side of it, some critics said the second season became too safe and predictable. I agree with that. The second season was not as good as the first season, even though they did bring in Ted Danson's real-life wife, Mary Steenburgen, an actress who's unbelievably great. But they started relying on familiar television tropes and formulas rather than taking creative risks. Others described it as pleasant. It's just not groundbreaking. Look, if you prefer intense dramas or edge-of-your-seat mysteries, this show you're going to find a little bit gentle. But the series has earned strong critical scores. It was widely praised for Ted Danson's performance. The critics described it as sweet, heartfelt, emotionally genuine, and Rotten Tomato critics and audience scores have remained very strong, even through the second season, which was admittedly not quite as good. All right, the next show I want to talk about is on HBO. I talked about it before, going back to the episode called One Day. So you can go back and listen to that, hear a little bit more about this. This is a show I love, and just the other night, we watched not just season finale, the series finale. The show's over now. It is called Hacks, and it is one of the most acclaimed television comedies of the past decade, rightfully so. It stars Jean Smart. Anyone remember her from Designing Women? She stars as Deborah Vance, a legendary Las Vegas comedian who's trying to stay relevant in a rapidly changing entertainment world. If you're trying to put a place or a face as to who this might be, I'm sure the character a little bit was developed off of Joan Rivers. Almost. I mean, there's a lot of differences, but kind of. To help revitalize Deborah Vance's career, she is paired with a much younger comedy writer named Ava Daniels. And what begins as a clash between generations becomes one of television's most fascinating relationships. Why are you going to like it? Well, first off, Deborah Vance is a character many mature viewers understand immediately. She's talented, she's accomplished, she's experienced, she's tired of being underestimated because of her age. And because of her age, she's getting royally screwed by the system. The show explores a lot of questions that we face, such as how do we stay relevant? How do we adapt to the changing times? What legacy will we be leaving behind? And how do we continue growing even after success? These are themes that become increasingly important each season as the series progresses. The final couple of seasons have focused heavily on legacy and creativity and how we want to be remembered, and Lord knows the finale certainly focused in on that. Gotta tell you something, I didn't love the finale. After watching the show for 5 seasons now, I didn't love the finale. Only because it didn't go the way I thought it should, and maybe that's a great thing for a show or a book or a movie, when it turns a completely different direction than you thought it would based on the past. I just kind of wish it had gone a little bit different. Anyway, here are some of the pros why you might like it. It's got outstanding writing. The writing is superb, and this is laugh out loud funny. It has brilliant performances from Jean Smart to Hannah Einbinder to all the supporting characters. It's really just fantastic. Got very sharp, intelligent humor. It's a thoughtful exploration of aging and ambition, and the chemistry between the actors and the characters is excellent. Jean Smart's performance has been especially celebrated The series has earned her numerous awards, including multiple Emmy wins, and also Hannah Einbinder, who plays Ava, also won an Emmy just this past award season. The cons of it? It's not a traditional sitcom, not by any means. The humor can be edgy. There is strong language. There is sexual content. Let me just put it this way. There is flat-out nudity a lot of the times. And there's some drug references throughout the series. Some viewers are going to find certain industry insider storylines less interesting if you don't really care about stand-up comedy or behind-the-scenes Hollywood stuff. The critics? Overwhelmingly enthusiastic. You might have guessed that when I said how many Emmys it's been winning. It maintained exceptional reviews over multiple seasons. It's been praised for its blend of comedy and drama and emotional depth. And one of the things that it manages is to be hilarious while still saying something meaningful about aging, friendship, mentorship, and reinvention. So please check out Hacks. You will like it unless language and or nudity is something that really bothers you, then you should avoid it. But if you can get by that, you're going to really be rewarding yourself. The performances are outstanding. The last of the TV shows I want to talk about is a Netflix show called Nobody Wants This. It's a surprising hit. It stars Kristen Bell and Adam Brody, and it centers on Joanne, a podcast host. Now, that's not why I liked it only, but a podcast host who isn't particularly religious, and Noah, who is a rabbi. They fall in love despite coming from really different backgrounds and views of the world. And at its core, it is a romantic comedy, but it's also about expectations of your family. It's about your identity. It is really about compromise and about navigating relationships as adults rather than 20-somethings. The folks who are falling in love here, they're older, but they're only in their, I think, late 30s they're supposed to be. So why are you as an older viewer going to like it? Well, I think you'll appreciate the stories are about relationships. The characters do have histories. They do make mistakes. They've all experienced heartbreak. They're trying to figure out how two lives fit together rather than simply falling head over heels. And if you're like me, older audiences often enjoy relationship stories that acknowledge the complexities of real life. And let me tell you something, this series does that really well. You might also recognize some familiar themes: family pressure, religious differences, cultural traditions, and learning to accept people as they are. Some of the things you're going to like about it, the pros, the performances are absolutely charming. There are times when the supporting actors really steal the show from the two main leads. The dialogue is smart, the relationship issues are relatable, and it's thoughtful, but it stays lighthearted. Some of the cons about it, well, there are some critics who felt the series occasionally relied on romantic comedy cliches. I'm one of them. There are times when it's so predictable you kind of are a little disappointed. Like, come on, guys, you're letting me down. You're better than this. Other people wanted a deeper exploration of some of the religious and cultural issues that it raises. Yeah, sometimes it kind of just does surface and doesn't go real deep. Viewers who are looking for high drama or maybe mystery, you might find this is a little too gentle and a little relationship focused. What do the reviewers say, though? Well, they praise the chemistry between Bell and Brody. They did highlight the show's ability to be funny, warm, and emotionally engaging without being overly sentimental. The consensus? It's an easy, enjoyable watch with enough substance to keep viewers invested. I have to agree with that. It's a little predictable. It could be a little deeper, but listen, at the end of it all, you're going to have a good time. Finally, I'd like to talk about a movie. It's based on a best-selling novel by Shelby Van Pelt called Remarkably Bright Creatures. The story follows Tova Sullivan, who's an elderly widow. She works at an aquarium in the Northwest. She develops an unlikely connection with Marcellus. And Marcellus is a giant Pacific octopus. Yes, an octopus. I know. But folks, this 8-legged, or is it 8-armed, co-star is not cut from a Disney animated flick. So stay with me here. Because what sounds whimsical on the surface becomes a touching story about grief, loneliness, friendship, and second chances. The novel became a bestseller because it explored universal questions like how do we move forward after loss? Can new friendships emerge late in life? That's a big one, isn't it? And is it ever too late to discover the truth about our past? Why you might like it? Well, the story places an older woman at the center, the older woman being Sally Field, in what has to be, at the very least, an Oscar-nominated performance. Yes, Sally, we like you. We really like you. I loved her in this movie. I thought she was fantastic because this had to be a very nuanced, controlled performance, and she managed to hold it together. She really is the center and the heart of this entire film. So she plays Tova. She's definitely not a side character. She is not there as comic relief. She's the hero. It also treats aging as a continuing journey rather than an ending. Sounds like a podcast I know. As you see, Tova is still learning. She's still growing. She's still discovering things about herself and her family. And she is, after many, many years, trying to come to terms with the loss of her son, who died. And it's unclear for her whether this was suicide or an accident. It does get revealed by the end of the film. Sort of. It sort of does. And she also has recently lost her husband, so she's at this point where really her life has become this aquarium and this octopus, Marcellus. Now, Marcellus is voiced by the incredible actor Alfred Molina. And no, they're not talking to each other, having conversations like Ariel and that crab in, Little Mermaid. But he is having conversations about her and his observations about the human race. And she's having conversations with him because she's kind of cut most of the people out of her life. And it's the only person or creature on this planet that she can have these conversations with. When a stranger comes to town and gets involved with both of them, that's when the story really takes off. Really great performances. The writing is great. Is it the best movie ever? No, it is not. Is it a great movie for just sitting down that you occupy your time for 1 hour and 48 minutes, and at the end of it, you're going to think life is sweet? You bet your butt it is. So the pros, it's got an older protagonist, the themes of resilience and healing. It's emotional without being depressing. That's a biggie. It's got memorable characters, and it has a great optimistic message. The cons, if you don't like sentimental stories, if you didn't like On Golden Pond, you should avoid this like the plague. Some people felt that portions of it are predictable. It is. The ending is not going to come as a shock. You're going to figure it out about 3/4 of the way through the film. Some people find the talking octopus concept difficult to accept initially. Trust me, you'll get over that. And a lot of people found themselves won over by the story's charm. What did the reviewers say about it? They generally praise the emotional intelligence and the unique premise. It has become a word-of-mouth phenomenon, the book has. The film, I think, is kind of quietly sitting there and might disappear. So do not let it disappear from your watch list that Bill Monty's recommending. And sit down, get yourself a nice little cup of coffee or tea, maybe a little sweet to munch on or some popcorn, and watch one of Sally Field's best performances. Look, I know. When we get older, our entertainment tastes often evolve. Mine haven't that much, but most people's do. We become less interested in explosions and superheroes. Not true. I am interested in explosions and superheroes. But also, we're more interested in stories about relationships, purpose, resilience, and human connection. And that is so true for me. I can't tell you the last time I felt as good about a movie as I do about Remarkably Bright Creatures. And there's one reason why all of these titles stand out. The Man on the Inside reminds us that purpose can be found at any age. Hacks tells us that reinvention never stops. Nobody Wants This reminds us that relationships remain complicated and rewarding throughout life. And Remarkably Bright Creatures, the novel, I understand from my daughter, and the movie suggests that friendship and discovery can arrive from the most unexpected places. You put them all together, they offer something that a lot of mature viewers can appreciate. Characters who have lived a little, who carry scars, and who still have room to grow. Because as I keep telling you, friends, growing older does not mean the story is over. At least not until the credits start rolling. Thank you for listening to Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older. You sticking with me through 3 years of podcasting this particular show means so much to me. I can't believe 3 years has gone by already. And if you're one of the special ones who listen to the end, yeah, it's just you and me now, friend. You are helping in ways that you might not even know. Because platforms like Apple and Spotify and iHeart and all those different platforms, they will push this show to other listeners just because you stayed until the end. If you'd like to support the show even more, share it with a friend. Leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Help others discover that getting older can be one of life's most rewarding adventures. Now, some people reach out and ask, but Bill, what else can I do? Can I do more besides listen to help support the show? Thanks for asking. You can. If you'd like, you can help keep the podcast growing by simply keeping me awake. Because podcasting is a hard business. So I could use some caffeine. Just click on that Buy Me a Coffee link in the show notes. Send me a cup of joe. It's not required by any means, but if you do it, it certainly is appreciated. And if you enjoyed today's episode, remember to subscribe so you'll be notified when new episodes become available. Until the next time, my friends, I thank you. I ask you to please be safe and be kind.
If it's warm outside but you're feeling colder, not sure what to do without a friendly shoulder, you're not alone, so start feeling bolder. Welcome to Bill Monty's Guide for Getting Older.
Hi, this is Bill Monty, inviting you to take a talk down memory lane on the podcast Tales from South Florida, where we dive into the people, places, and events that make our corner of the Sunshine State unlike any place, anywhere. So sit back, grab your headsets, get a slice of key lime pie, and come along for the ride. Full episodes, music, videos, and more are available at talesfromsouthflorida.com. Tales from South Florida, where the stories meet the sea.